I came home expecting a quiet evening. Nothing in my day hinted at life as I knew it was about to shatter. As I walked through the door, I immediately sensed something was off. My wife was sitting on the couch. Her face lit up with excitement, a kind of anticipation I hadn't seen in a long time. Before I could even take off my jacket, she said it. I've decided to carry a baby for my best friend. I'm going to be her surrogate. For a second, I thought I had misheard her. My brain struggled to process the words. She said it so casually, as if she were telling me she picked up groceries on the way home. But this wasn't a casual thing. This wasn't something you just drop into conversation, without warning. I let out a short, disbelieving laugh, waiting for her to clarify. Maybe it was a hypothetical, maybe she was still considering it. But she wasn't joking. Her eyes locked onto mine with unwavering certainty. You what? I finally managed to say, I'm going to carry a baby for her. She and her husband have been struggling for years. I can do this for her, and I will. It's my body, my choice. The way she said it, like it was a done deal, hit me harder than the words themselves. This wasn't discussion. She wasn't asking how I felt about it. She was telling me what was going to happen. 100 questions flooded my mind, but the first one that escaped was, when were you to talk to me about this? She rolled her eyes as if I was making a big deal out of nothing. I'm talking to you now. No, I snapped. You're telling me now. She sighed like my reaction was predictable, like she had already played this conversation out in her head and decided I was the unreasonable one. I don't understand why this is such a big deal for you. This is my body, my decision. I'm doing something good, something selfless. My stomach tightened. You don't see how this F // has both of us. Of course I do, she said, but her voice lacked sincerity. But it's not like I'm cheating on you. I'm just carrying a baby for someone who can't, she said, like it was simple, like it wouldn't change everything, like it wouldn't affect us. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my voice steady. You're telling me that for nearly a year, you'll go through pregnancy, hormonal changes, doctor visits, and everything that comes with it, and I'm just supposed to be okay with that? What about our life? What about us? She waved a hand dismissively. It's temporary. Nothing will change between us. I stared at her, trying to find some trace of the person I married, the woman who used to talk things through with me before making major decisions. But all I saw was someone who had already moved past this conversation before I even walked through the door. I should have at least been part of this decision, I said, forcing the words out through gritted teeth. She shook her head, her face twisted in frustration. This isn't about you. That was it. That was the moment I realized just how little my opinion mattered in this marriage. This wasn't a partnership anymore. She had made her choice, and she expected me to fall in line. I didn't say another word. I just stood there, the weight of her words sinking in, pressing down like a vice on my chest. She had made her decision, and now I had to make mine. I sat down trying to gather my thoughts, but my wife was already moving on, acting as if the conversation was settled. She grabbed her phone and started typing, probably texting her friend, telling her everything was set. I wasn't even part of the equation. I forced myself to speak, to push back. You can't just expect me to be okay with this. She sighed, setting her phone down with an irritated expression. What exactly do you want me to say? I've made my decision. That's a problem. I shot back. You made a decision alone. Do you really not see why that's an issue? She crossed her arms and leaned back into the couch. I see that you're overreacting. This is my body, and I have every right to do what I want with it. I don't need your permission. It was like talking to a wall. I wasn't trying to control her. I wasn't telling her what to do. I just wanted to be part of the conversation, to have my feelings considered. But every time I tried to express that, she threw up a shield, shutting down any attempt at real discussion. You're making it sound like I'm trying to control you, I said, forcing myself to stay calm. That's not what this is about. This is about our marriage. This is about us, about how this will affect both of our lives. She scoffed. It's 9 months, a year at most, if you count recovery. You're acting like I'm leaving you or something. I clenched my jaw, my patience wearing thin. You're carrying a child for someone else. Do you even realize what that means? The physical toll, the emotional toll. She cut me off. I've already thought about it. I almost laughed. Thought about it? Maybe. But had she considered the reality of what it would do to our relationship, to our home, the stress, the complications? I doubted it. So that's it? I just have to accept this. I asked, my voice lower now, tired. She didn't even hesitate. Yeah. One word. One final, unwavering answer. I let that sink in. She hadn't asked my opinion because she never intended to hear it. She had already decided, already committed herself to this. And my thoughts on the matter were irrelevant. This wasn't just about the surrogacy anymore. This was about our marriage, what it had become, a relationship where she made the big decisions and expected me to simply adapt. You're really not going to consider how I feel about this? I asked, searching for even the smallest sign of hesitation in her expression. Instead, she rolled her eyes. I am considering how you feel, but at the end of the day, this is my choice. I don't need your approval. She said it like that was the end of the conversation, like I should just move on. I sat there watching her, realizing that everything had already changed. Not because of the surrogacy itself, but because of what it represented. The way she dismissed me, the way she saw her decisions as hers alone, without regard for what they meant for us. She had made her choice, and for the first time I started to wonder if I needed to make mine. The words hung in the air, poison that hurt more than any argument we'd ever had. I tried to explain, to justify. Everyone needs to vent sometimes. This situation had been hard on both of us. His response cut deeper than any surgery ever could. Hard on both of us? I lost my job. I can barely walk some days. The doctors don't know if I'll ever weld again. And while I'm lying here feeling like a failure, because I can't provide for my family, my wife is out there telling everyone what a worthless piece of garbage I am. The truth hit me then, standing in that dark kitchen, watching my husband look at me like a stranger. I hadn't just failed to support him. I had actively undermined his recovery. Every thoughtless word, every cruel joke, every moment of public humiliation. I had broken something far more vital than his spine, his trust in me as his partner, his teammate. That's when I made the biggest mistake of my life. I thought I could shock him into submission, make him see how serious things were. Maybe we should just get divorced then, I shouted, standing up so fast my chair screeched against the floor. Since I'm such a terrible wife and you're so miserable with me. I expected panic, backpedaling. Anything but what came next. Jerry just sat there, nodding slowly like something finally clicked into place. You know what? His voice was unnervingly calm. Maybe we should. My stomach plummeted. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. I've spent months thinking I was the problem, he continued, wincing as he shifted in his chair. Feeling guilty because I couldn't work, because you had to pick up extra shifts, because our savings were draining. But now I see the real problem. Jerry, wait, I started backpedaling fast. I didn't mean, yes, you did. You cut me off. You meant every word. Just like you meant all those things you said to our friends, to your coworkers, on Facebook. The only difference is now you're saying it to my face. I changed tactics, made my voice soft and sweet. Baby, we're both just stressed. We can work through this. I'll do better. I promise I'll stop complaining. You'll what? He actually laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. You'll just trash me behind my back instead of my face? You'll wait until I'm asleep to post about what a burden I am. That's not fair. I was crying again, but this time the tears weren't getting me anywhere. I've been taking care of you for months. Taking care of me? His eyes went wide. Is that what you call it? Helping me with basic tasks while telling everyone who will listen how pathetic I am? Making sure I take my meds while joking about how you're stuck with a useless husband? He tried standing then, and I saw him bite back a groan of pain. I reached out automatically to help, but he waved me off. Don't bother, he said, using the table to push himself up. I'd hate to be more of a burden than I already am. That's when the real panic set in. This wasn't a fight anymore. This wasn't something I could fix with tears or promises or manipulation. I could see it in his eyes. Something had broken between us, Something I wasn't sure could be repaired. That was 6 months ago. Jerry moved in with his brother the next day while I was at work, leaving behind his key and a note saying his lawyer would be in touch. A lawyer? Like we needed to get that formal about it. I tried everything to fix it. Called him constantly until he blocked my number, sent long emails about how sorry I was, how much I missed him, how we could work it out. I posted sad songs on Facebook about forgiveness and second chances. Nothing. Radio silence. Meanwhile, my so-called friends showed their true colors. Brittany blocked me on everything. Other friends stopped inviting me places. Even my work friends started finding excuses not to take breaks with me, like I was toxic or something. The real kick in the teeth? Jerry's doing better now. My friend Chelsea ran into him at the grocery store last week. Said he's walking almost normally, working part-time, training new welders since he can't do the heavy lifting anymore. He's even dating some nurse he met at physical therapy. Must be nice, having someone who actually understands medical stuff. I'm still at Target, but now I'm the manager everyone whispers about. The one who trashed her injured husband. I tried dating apps, but somehow people always find out what happened. Even guys I meet at bars ghost me once they hear through mutual friends about what I did to my ex. And honestly, I still don't get why everyone's making such a big deal about this. Yes, I said some things I shouldn't have. Yes, I could have been more supportive. But I was stressed. I was scared. I was watching our whole life fall apart while Jerry took forever to heal. Anyone would have complained a little. Tried telling that to the last guy I dated. He actually had the nerve to say he couldn't trust someone who'd kick their partner while they're down. As if he knows anything about what I went through. About how hard it was watching your husband turn into a different person. Seeing your comfortable life slip away. Dealing with all that pressure alone. So here I am, single at 32, still folding clothes and dealing with entitled customers at Target. Meanwhile, Jerry's moving on with his life like I never existed. Everyone acts like I'm the bad guy, but nobody wants to acknowledge how much I did for him before I cracked under pressure. Nobody remembers all the doctor's appointments, all the medication schedules, all the nights I spent worried about our future. The worst part? Even the broke guys won't date me now. Like seriously, you're working part-time at GameStop and living with roommates, but somehow I'm not good enough for you? At least I have a management position. I guess this is my karma or whatever. But if you ask me, I'm not the villain everyone makes me out to be. I'm just someone who said what everyone else thinks when things get hard. I just made the mistake of saying out loud.